What is going on, guys? I have a bunch of updates. I have a lot of other stuff that I kind of feel like I got to talk about just because of the last video I made talking about a huge deal that I thought was about to go down. Hint, hint, that deal has not happened yet. But I have something huge, and I said this was going to be the next video. No way around it. I cannot talk about anything else until I get this card in. I've been super excited about this card, and while people that have been in the hobby way longer than me probably have owned this card for a long time, as well as a lot of other Grail cards that I consider just super high-end Grail cards, a lot of other people that have been collecting a long time probably this is just another card. But to me, this card is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I should have went for this card a lot sooner. This card had been on my radar for a while, and I remember when it was 10-15% less than what I actually paid for it. So I am ashamed how much I paid for this card because I know this market pretty well. And despite knowing the market pretty well, I still dove face first into this card. And yeah, I don't have any regrets about it. I think that this card is going to perform really, really well over the long term. But I'm really, really excited to announce and share that this card has been added to my collection. I would normally do an unboxing with you guys. That would be really special. But with cards of this caliber, I've gotten to a point where I can't stand to let cards like this sit in a box in the game room for very long. I have to see them. I have to see the quality. I have to see if they're Orion approved. I have to see if this card is worthy of staying in my collection. But anyways, without further ado, guys, feast your eyes on the first edition Neo Destiny Shining Charizard. This card is absolutely phenomenal, iconic, brilliant. The way this card was made, the way the holo is stamped onto these cards versus the normal foiling, this is a very, very unique, special design. Now, as far as art, nothing too crazy. Charizard is flying in a canyon. But one thing that is interesting about Charizard flying into a canyon is that we have a tribute to this in Modern as well. And I'm not saying that the Modern tribute made me think of this card, but if you look at the recent 151 Charizard EX, it has that same vibe. It's flying out of a canyon. I don't know if they got some of their inspiration from the original Shiny. If you look closely to that hand-drawn artwork, you can kind of see the canyon walls as Charizard is flying out of the canyon. Absolutely beautiful. When this card is in just the right light, it's really phenomenal. And honestly, the lighting is perfect. You guys are really getting to enjoy this card the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. When that flame lights up on his tail, it just, oh man, it's phenomenal. Now, this card is not the best centered example, right? For a PSA 10, I probably could have done better. The centering is not perfect. It's a little thin on this side and thicker on all three of these borders, this border, and this border, and then it is thin on this side. That's not really a concern of mine. My concern was the back. And you guys are going to see that this is an Orion approved card. I'm really picky, and I'm willing to admit when a card does not meet my standards and when I've messed up. I've had a lot of really close calls, and I've had a lot of cards that were questionable, and I always get rid of them quickly. I cannot stand holding on to something or selling something in the future that I don't fully believe in, so I get rid of it immediately. This card's back for being a PSA 10 is somewhat questionable. There is a white dot on one of the corners. You guys are about to see that, but I wanted to show you guys how OCD and how anal I am when it comes to collecting high-end cards like this. I'm not just buying these cards and saying, oh, it's a PSA 10, I'm good. If I buy even a PSA 10 and it's not up to standards, if I don't approve of it, I'm getting rid of it. I'll let somebody else buy it for the grade. I don't buy it for the grade. I want the best of the best. I'm very competitive in my nature, And while I don't fully subscribe or believe in the capitalistic, consumer-driven nature of Pokemon card collecting, it is something that I want to talk about a little more seriously because especially in this environment right now, things are crazy, people are frustrated, and people want to leave the hobby. And honestly, I feel like that's a very valid opinion. I don't think people are being crybabies. I really think that things are out of control right now. No one can afford the cards in this hobby right now, and things are getting crazy. And honestly, one of my fears was that I would not have a chance to get these cards after this kind of market boom. So I pulled the trigger on this card. Now, before we go ahead and look at the back of this card, I want to go ahead and say that I have one of 260 of these ever made that graded a PSA 10. Now, there are going to be more copies that get graded a PSA 10. At the same time, maybe there won't be very many copies that get graded and hit a PSA 10 because I believe that PSA, especially right now, is controlling populations. They are trying to protect the market. I really feel that way. I feel like for cards like this, these iconic vintage Grail cards, these days, if they are not absolutely perfect, they are not going to get a 10. In other news, a huge vintage card just hit a black label. I know we're talking about my recent pickup, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about the other latest news in the hobby. A gold star, you guys know I collect gold star cards. A gold star Mudkip was just graded by BGS and it received the highest possible pristine grade of a black label. It is the first ever Pokemon Gold Star card to hit a black label. While this doesn't matter that much to me because I will never be able to afford a card like that, I still think that it's historic. And I want to give a shout out to my boy JD who brought this up so I could bring it up to you guys and who let me know immediately that this card was just graded. This is pretty substantial, guys. Vintage cards rarely get graded a black label from Beckett. This is a big deal. That card could be worth over 6 figures easily. Now, is someone willing to pay that? Is another story. I'm not sure. But I wanted to throw that out there because that was some huge news that got released recently. Congratulations, whoever you are out there with your pristine black label Mudkip Gold Star. I personally think the Mudkip Gold Star is one of the best Gold Stars. I think that card would be hard to sell though, because then you're going to want the other two as black labels. But this is the card I'm talking about and referencing. The Mudkip Gold Star. Mine's a PSA 9. 9s are still mint, so still a beautiful card. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Back to the Charizard. Let's look at the back of this card and see if you guys approve. Here it is. Here's the back. See, it should clear up. So as you guys can see, I'm trying to get the harsher light on that so you guys can see that there's no dents or dings. But as we get closer to the card, you can see we've got one white corner right here. This is the only white corner that I see on the card. Got a smudge or something right here. I did take this card to work last night. We had an event at the bar, a neon black light painting event. And I took this to the bar. I was super excited. I was so excited I could not leave it here. So I took it to the bar with me and I looked it over all night. So I was really thorough with the card. I have put my my UV light on it, or my black light, whatever we're calling that. I put that on the back. It is pretty clean. Again, really clean back. No white dot here. No white dot here. No white dot here. But we do have that one little ding. And a PSA 10, you know, PSA 10, there's going to be a margin of error there. It's not. A PSA 10 is by no means perfect. This is why we have the pristine gold label from CGC and the black label from BGS. Although I think CGC is giving out pristines. I'm just going to put that out there. I think they give out pristines in a way that Beckett never would. So, I don't know. What I like about PSA is getting a 9 is still pretty hard for high-end vintage cards like this. finding a 10 that's even this clean with an older cert like this is hard as well. What I mean by older cert, we talk about this stuff a lot. Right here you have the 2-8. Well, why is that relevant, Orion? That means that this card was an older cert card. Because over here with this Charizard, we can see we have 102. That is the 1 million cert. This one is the, that is the 1 million cert. And this one is the 28. So we have the 102 million, and this is the 28 million. Yes. So this was the 28th millionth card. Well, we'll just put it that way. And then this was in the 100 million range of where it got graded. Why is that important? Because grading standards have changed. We've brought this up a lot on the channel, but I'm going to bring it up again for anybody that's new here. Grading standards have changed. This is why a lot of people will pay a hefty premium for the 100 million cert graded cards, because they are the newest, freshest, cleanest copies that have been graded. In theory, right? Now there are still going to be older certs like this 28 millionth cert that are going to be clean examples. This one I believe is, even with the white dot on the corner, I believe that this is a clean example of this card. I had thought long and hard about, that's what she said. I have thought a lot about this card and whether I would get it in a 10 or whether I would go after the entire first edition Shining set in a 9. You guys know my largest goals in this collection are collecting all of the gold stars, which I will never own in PSA 10 likely. So I'm completing those in 9s. I'm missing the Celebi and I'm missing a gold star Umbreon. I really need help getting that gold star Umbreon. First edition base in PSA 9 is also a goal of mine. And the secret rares from Aquapolis and Skyridge, dubbed the Crystals, is also another goal of mine. I am getting very close to completing all of these goals, but I hadn't started first edition Shinings. So I decided it was time to go ahead and pull the trigger. Now, everybody probably wants to know, Orion, get to it already. What did you pay for this card so we can grill you and troll you for how much money you spent? Guys, I paid too much. I paid too much for this card. I paid $11,400 for this copy, and I'm happy with that price. Now, a month or a couple months ago, this card was going for the upper 8s and 9s. I intended on buying this card for $9,000. I did not ever think that I was going to spend this kind of money on this card. $11,400 is pretty much $2,400 over my budget that I already decided on. I said, I'm going to find one of these. Here's the problem with that. When you go and say that you're going to find a card for a certain price, you go looking for it. You find other examples of the card that you're not happy with. And then you end up settling on that and saying, oh, well, this copy has a couple scratches, but it's $2,400 less. One thing I've learned over the years buying on eBay is that, or buying privately, it's not always about the best price. Sometimes the best price doesn't equal the best card. I learned this the hard way when I bought my first edition Mewtwo and my first edition Alakazam. Both were great deals. Both resulted in me being unhappy with the cards. And I ended up swapping both of those out. I have a new first edition Mewtwo and I have a new first edition Alakazam. So I'm very happy with those cards. We're missing about 5 first editions. We're missing Crystal Celebi. We're missing the Gold Star Umbreon and Celebi. And now we are officially missing all of the other Shinings. So when I pick up another Grail card and I make a video like this one, you guys will probably have some idea, process of elimination. You guys will have some idea of what possible card that could be. Some of the next biggest cards, I think, on my list are probably Charizard cards. And I'm going to tell you why. Charizard has continuously been a focus of mine. And as much as I try and downplay it, like, Charizard's basic, Charizard's not basic. Charizard's incredible. Charizard represents everything that I know and love about the hobby. This fiery dragon, which kind of represents my personality. Laugh all you want, but I believe I'm a fiery dragon on the inside. Also, I love reptiles. We have a bearded dragon named Zard. It's obvious that I will always love dragon reptilian type Pokemon. There's a reason that I like Pokemon like Tyranitar. What's also funny is you see that trend again with Greninja, who is now becoming one of my other favorite Pokemon. Nope, it's not focusing in. Focus in on this cool Greninja toy. Okay. And, of course, I like the original reptiles, the big three, Blastoise, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander, and their evolved forms. They're all reptiles. There's a recurring trend here. In my opinion, those are some of the greatest cards ever in the hobby. That's just my opinion, but I definitely have an appreciation for these reptile-type Pokemon. Moving forward, this is a pretty big goal for me to have crossed off, and it marks the 4th Charizard card that I own now that is pretty much tippy top of the line Charizard cards. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. So I also wanted to bring out my other favorite Charizard cards so we could put all of these together in a group and show this amazing accomplishment and get to share that with you guys. Call it a flex, call it whatever you want. It's not a flex. I am extremely grateful and humbled to hold these cards up in front of you guys. Some people out there might say, oh, they're not even PSA 10. Oh, that one's a 9. It doesn't matter. These cards are mint examples. They are great examples. The only one that I feel a little bit bad about is my first edition Charizard. I paid a lot of money for that one, more than I've ever paid for a card. I spent $18,400 for that card. It ended up being, I think, 19 with fees over PayPal goods and services. But I'm still happy with that pickup. But it's a lot older cert, and you know, it's got 2 or 3 white corners. That's how it goes sometimes with those really old Grail cards. But anyways, overall, I am humbled to present to you guys my 4 biggest Charizard cards ever. We have the first edition base set. We have the Gold Star Charizard. We have the newly added Shining Zard. And we have our Crystal Zard. Now, as much as the lighting, as much as I'm having a hard time getting it to focus in on all these cards, I hope you guys can see everything pretty well, because I can't. But I just want to appreciate the fact that we're here. I am a Charizard fanboy, and I don't just think that they're the most valuable cards in the hobby. I genuinely love Charizard cards. The next Charizard cards that I think would be on my list: Legendary Collection Charizard, PSA 10 or PSA 9. I probably can't afford a 10, but if I can afford a 10, I'm going after a 10. Blaine's Charizard, first edition, PSA 10. And Dark Charizard, which is a big one, which I better get on soon. Because with this Team Rocket set coming, when Destined Rivals hits the market in May, it is going to be absolute craziness. And if I'm wrong on that release date, forgive me. But it is going to be absolute craziness, guys. And I do believe, deep down, that all Team Rocket and all Team Rocket Returns cards from the EX era, I think both WotC and EX are going to see a huge bump when that set releases, and people want to go back to the roots of those cards. So I think that's really special and worth noting, and it's something that I want to get on top of. But for the most part, the biggest Charizards in the game that would be the hardest for me to acquire are now all in my collection. So, quick recap. First edition Charizard, base set. Absolutely stunning. And this copy is the thick stamp variant. You guys might not be able to tell, Well, what does that mean, Orion? What does thick stamp mean? It means that it has a larger 1 in the first edition stamp. I honestly, personally, I think that the thick stamp looks a lot better. And I do place some extra value on it. The fact that I did get a clean copy and it's a thick stamp. Again, recurring trend with not the best centering in the world. This one's a little bit thin on this side. But again, first edition Charizard. This was still is really my all-time Grail card. This was something that I never thought I would own. I really never thought I would own this card. Finding a deal on this card is agonizing. And going back and forth, I negotiated for months trying to find one of these for a decent price. I think now they're trending in the $25,000 to $30,000 area, which is what I always believed it was worth around. So I felt at $18,400, that was like half off of the true value in my own opinion. Remember, I've been in the hobby now for 5 years. I have seen the highs and the lows, and this card reached a low of about $16,600. I think that's a number that I referenced a lot when I was looking for this card, because Z&G, one of the largest consigners in the community, he had a sale for one at $16,600. Now that copy could have been trashed. We have no idea what that copy actually looked like, so the cheapest doesn't always mean the best. I'm very happy with the price point I got on the one I have because I'm happy with the condition of the card and I'm happy with what I paid on it. Moving up, I believe the Gold Star Charizard is probably the next on the list in terms of quality. This one also has about 2 whitish corners, right? These vintage cards, really hard for them to be perfect. Really, really hard for them to be perfect. Like, just the texture of the card quality itself is different from modern cards. Now, one thing I hate about the Gold Star Charizard is this reverse holo that it has, right? I don't personally like that all that much, but one thing I realized was last night when I was watching TV and I had all my favorite cards in front of me, at the end of the night, I had all my favorite cards in front of me, and the TV light was reflecting off of the card, and it created this beautiful reflection that just put the emphasis on the Charizard, and that's why these cards are incredible. When you get this card in just the right light, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it here, you guys can kind of see that. When you get it in just the right light, it really stands out. I don't know if I'm getting this message across fully, but when you get it in just the right light, and it shows the Charizard only, it really looks cool. It's hard to explain that. If you own this card, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And there's a couple Gold Stars that are like that. The Holon Phantoms Gold Star Gyarados, the Dragon Frontiers Mew, which is also an incredible card. Off the top of my head, those are the only ones that I think I remember were the reverse holo style. And then the Shining Charizard I would put in better condition than the Gold Star and the first edition. And then last but not least, the best quality card that I might even own in my entire collection. The quality of this card is so nice. I can't find a single thing on this card. It is absolutely flawless. I would even say that this card, the centering is even perfect. I would say this card, honestly, probably had a shot at something like a BGS Black Label. And I know you're saying, Orion, that's impossible. Black Labels are not easy to get. It would not be worth it. But I'm pretty sure they would agree with me on this card. I've looked it over again and again and again and again, and I've never found a flaw on this card. I believe this is one of the nicest Skyridge Charizards in the world, and I mean it. This card, I got super lucky on. I paid $10,200 for this card in a down market. No one wanted cards like this at the time. It was a huge risk, and I got a lot of crap for it once I bought it. But once everybody saw how clean the card was, everybody was in agreement mutually that this was one of the cleanest Skyridge Charizards anybody had ever seen. It truly is a spectacle. if we look at the back, the front's well centered, but if we looked at the back, guys, do you see this? There's not a white dot on this thing. It is absolutely perfect. Now, I'm not going to lie. I've got a Gold Star Rayquaza in cross grading at PSA right now that was a BGS 9. Now, you guys think, oh, that card's clean enough to 10. No, it's not clean enough to 10. I will tell you when I have a card that I think is clean enough to 10 or a card that I think exceeds all expectations. And the Shining Zard exceeded all expectations. I am so glad it doesn't have any scratches or anything indents or anything weird. As it shouldn't, it's a 10. But the Skyridge Zard definitely trumps every other card that I have. It's incredible, and it's an incredible condition card. I would definitely put it at a higher value than even my first edition Charizard. Okay, now, moving forward, let's talk about some other things real quick. I got some cheaper cards coming in. We'll talk about those tomorrow. Some budget-friendly cards that I think were worth buying even in this market. Another thing, some good news. Well, let's talk about some more bad news first. The Shining Charizard that I got. You guys are wondering, Ryan, when did this purchase take place? I bought the first edition Shining Zard roughly a month ago. It took, well, Z&G doesn't ship until I think they only ship once a week now. So I think I bought it at the beginning of the week and they shipped at the end of the week with everything else. So it was a week until it even got shipped. But PSA is so backlogged right now that they're not doing the best job with the PSA vault. Now, I got my card, so everything worked out. I shouldn't complain. But the amount of time it took for this transaction to take place and get through, by the time I bought this card, and I've racked up credit card debt in the past. Now I have a ton of money saved up, and I consistently always pay it off. Or I use my sales within the month to pay it off. I bought this card, put it on my credit card. Before I even got the card, I had it paid off on my credit card. That's how long this card took to get to me. I was really anxious to a point where I was like, I swear to God, if this card has any flaws at all, I'm so cooked. Like, I've waited so long for this. I put the money up. I paid it off. Like, it better be perfect. And it is for the most part. But the vault took a really long time. If you are vaulting cards, additionally, they are now changing the fine print. I think mid-March. Correct me on this if I'm wrong, but mid-March, this upcoming month, they are going to be forcing you to pay basically a fee based on the card's total value. Now, they said they were going to do this initially, and they never went through with it. It was $6 to withdraw this card. I saved a ton of money on taxes. Roughly $800 or $900 on taxes I saved by putting this in the vault. Yeah, I waited a month. Yeah, it was stressful. But it saved me money in real time that I could use to invest in other things, buy other cards, flip other cards, or even grading. My grading submission is coming back. That's some more news. And I gotta say, guys, it's not good. You guys are gonna be entertained by that submission video. It should be here on Monday, this upcoming week. You guys are gonna be entertained by that video because that submission destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. I was not ready for it at all. So that's gonna be fun. But the $900 I saved on this card, that submission cost me $1,400. I am really spending more money right now than I probably have ever done in the hobby, but I'm also selling more and making more content than I've ever made in the hobby. I feel more involved in the hobby than ever right now. So, you know, I've talked about this before, but it's important for me to be spending, buying, selling, and just feeling involved, grading, so that I can actually give you guys good information that I'm learning personally from my own experiences. I can't give you guys good information if I'm not doing anything, right? I did take about a month away from Pokemon and away from making videos. It was when the girls were gone. Diana and Aspen were visiting her family and Aspen's grandparents in Portugal. I stayed here behind to work and continue earning, saving. We're saving to buy another house. And that's where I'll get into this big deal that has not gone through yet. That's the next point. So the vault is slow. We got some cards to talk about tomorrow. The submission is not going well, but I had to look, guys. I had to look. But it's going to be fun to reveal it nonetheless. It'll be entertaining for you guys. You'll get to laugh at me. I just got wrecked on this last submission. To be fair, I only did 10% worse than my last submission, gem mint wise. I did 10% worse about, but I'm still really unhappy and hurt by it because I pulled a lot of my 151 stuff that I submitted. I pulled it on stream, packed fresh. And one of my biggest regrets, that I'm going to tell you guys right now, is when a set comes out, find the cards to grade and send them immediately. Because my belief is not just incompetence by PSA, which I definitely believe they're incompetent. But I still want my cards graded by PSA. But I believe that they pop control. I believe they pop control. Call me a conspiracy theorist. I believe they pop control. I believe they pop control vintage. I believe they're going to pop control modern. I believe that they're so backlogged right now and they have so much stuff coming in that they have no choice, and I've said this before, but to karate chop every single card that should be a 9 or 10, and they're giving out 8s. Guys, I got several 8s on my last submission. Those were pack fresh cards that I deemed worthy of getting graded. I mean, I'm no expert, but I'm also no idiot. I've been collecting for a long time. I know what a mint card looks like. So, huge bummer. I did get a lot of good cards back that 10'd, some that I was very excited about, but equally, it really, really hurt getting those submission results back. But that'll be a fun video to make nonetheless. Talked about the vault. What else? I did want to share an update. This has nothing to do with Pokemon, but I talk about my real life on here all the time. You guys know I got in a car accident about 4 months back. My cheapest BMW, my 2002 325i. Someone hit me in the side. I had to fight insurance. They were claiming ignorance. They were basically saying I was at fault. No one took responsibility. After begging the people that hit me to take responsibility, they still didn't. So I had to call insurance, State Farm. I hate you, State Farm. I had to call insurance for 4 months in a row, badgering and badgering and badgering. And what I want to say today, guys, is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And why does this matter? Because it might apply to you in this hobby in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's dealing with a seller or dealing with PSA. If you have a problem, voice your problem and concern and be very persistent about it, because if you are, it might just get resolved. This insurance case, I had everything working against me. I'm on liability coverage. I didn't have full coverage. So I had to do everything on my own. I had no agent reaching out on my behalf from Progressive, which is my insurance company. The people that hit me were taking no responsibility. My car got literally left at the scene. Everyone drove off. My car was not drivable. I've gone through a lot of hardship with this accident the past couple months. I paid out of pocket to have my car repaired, and then I had to fight State Farm to get them to just reimburse me. It is my pleasure to say that today I have won my case. I am getting $3,400 direct deposited into my account. And they're letting me keep the car, which they should, because insurance companies are sleazy. They will try and take your car, they'll try and total it, and then they'll try and pay you nothing, and they'll try and take it. You have to fight back. You have to not accept that offer, and you have to believe the advice that I'm giving you guys right now. If you ever get in an accident, I hope that this video helps you after you get in an accident. If you're on liability or full coverage, you still, even with full coverage, might have to fight for your God-given right for the insurance companies to cover your property damage, which is what they're there for. These sleazy insurance companies, it's the same thing in the healthcare industry. It's the same thing in the car insurance industry. It's the same thing in the house insurance industry. They are all sleazy companies, in my opinion, that profit off of our misfortune. Anyways, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I won my case. I'm getting my money, and I got them to reimburse me for another repair. And the car is still driving. It was cool too, because I got to see the whole history on the car's history and like the original owner in New York and how all the service he did. And I realized I did very well keeping this car. It has had so much service history on it. It's been babied its whole life and continuously by me as well. So I'm glad I'm getting to keep the car. And you know what? I think I might drive around with a dented car because you know what? That's what any humble, rational person would do, and they would keep the money. Now I can get it fixed at some point, but now I've got the money. I think I'm going to put that in my savings. We talked about this home purchase that we're trying to make. So yes, guys, I'm excited. I'm glad to announce that, to push that behind me. I know it seems like it doesn't matter. Orion, why are you talking about this? You talk about Pokemon stuff. You're on a roll there. But it's important to me, guys. And I thought that maybe I could give some information out there to you guys if you ever get in a jam like that. Feel free to reach out and ask me what I did. Feel free to ask me anything about the accident. Anyways, that's being dealt with. I've got my car, I'm getting my money, the car drives perfectly, and I can repair it down the road by myself, or I'll hire a shop and pay the money that I'm getting paid now, but I'm probably just going to save the money. Lastly, I almost forgot what you're all waiting to hear about, or maybe you don't care about. You're just like, Orion, get it over with. The major deal that I made a video about yesterday from the card shop sending me an offer at 92% market value for all of my sealed product has effectively fallen through. Now, I know what you're thinking, Orion, why are you so greedy? Why did you want more? Why did you want 95%? Guys, I only countered 3% higher. If they're not willing to pay me 3% higher, they don't really want it. And they probably don't really need it. It looks like, and they posted a couple videos with collections that they had bought, which to me, I feel like I got stabbed in the heart, guys. I'm not gonna even lie. I feel like I got stabbed in the heart, especially because people that I know in this hobby locally sold those collections to them right when I was making a deal with them. So I feel like I was a little bit sabotaged, and I'm not even gonna say who it was, but there are some people that have effectively pissed me off in this hobby already. Anyways, rarely ever talk about that kind of stuff, but yeah, it hurt me. And what also hurt me is that a professional shop left me on red. I responded to their initial offer within a couple hours with a counter. They didn't have to just ghost me. Now, if I find out there was some emergency or something happened, then I'll be understanding. But right now, as I see it, I just got ignored. Maybe it was rightfully so. Maybe you guys think, well, Ryan, you asked for too much. Of course they ignored you. But that's no way to run a business, guys. That's no way to be professional. If you're going to be professional, and I'm also not going to call out the shop either, because that is not my intention. My intention is just to express to the people that I'm now calling my friends and my only outlet to actually talk and feel heard. I love you guys. I really do. I mean that. I love you guys. For listening, for putting up with me, for supporting me, for telling me that I am worth, being here. I appreciate you guys, all of you. One thing I've realized recently is that I'm not shit. I'm not shit. The minute you realize and accept that you're not shit, whether it's in this hobby or in life, you're just doing your thing, I'm nobody. The minute I realize that is the minute everything, the weight just gets taken off. I want to be more vulnerable this year. I want to be more honest with how I'm feeling about the hobby or pickups or grading. I don't want to sugarcoat things. I don't want to make things seem exaggerated. And quite frankly, maybe they didn't make me an offer back because they're realizing now that they over-offered. There's so much sealed product out there. There's so many people sitting on sealed product. I don't think it's nearly as valuable as people actually think it is. I don't think it's as valuable as the market deems it is. I think that a lot of sealed product is probably worth 30 to 40% less than what the market thinks it's valued at. I really feel that way because the reality is a lot of us are opening more than ever, but a lot of us are hoarding and keeping sealed more than ever. If it's all over the place, right? There's still people finding their vintage sealed booster boxes. What about the masses out there that are sitting with closets and garages like me full of sealed product? Anyways, guys, I'm okay to sit on my sealed collection for now, but it was a huge blow because I honestly thought that we were about to make a deal. I was super excited about it. The fact that I didn't even get a response back within 2 days is really, really sad. And I feel like, again, it's unprofessional. So I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I think I'm probably done giving any business to that shop whatsoever. Call me a crybaby, say whatever you want. I think a lot of people, if they were in my situation, would take it a little bit personally. It's only business. Don't take it personally. The 4 agreements, don't make assumptions. I'm trying to not jump into that and make an assumption. Like, I love the shop and I hate the shop right now at the same time. But it's a business move and I can't take it personally. So right now I'm just chalking it up to, Ryan, just calm down, breathe. It's a business move, bro. But you got to understand, a $30,000 deal is nothing to sneeze at. And I feel like I was sneezed at. Anyways, a new development has happened with that deal. Someone reached out to me. Well, several people reached out to me. But only one person reached out with a very defined goal and a serious attitude to acquiring my sealed collection. Someone reached out with a purchasing power of up to $100,000 and has offered to buy my collection, hopefully at market, because I don't know if they think I'm turning down 92%. I don't know why they would expect I would take anything less. So I think the agreement with them is I've told them I want market and I'm not going to ship it. They've agreed, if they can make an offer and we can agree on it, to fly or drive out. I know you guys are probably thinking, Orion, don't do this. Don't trust people to know where you are or drive to you or fly to you. That's a bad idea. But guys, I'm not the least bit worried about it. We have a crazy pit bull. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about getting robbed or something bad happening to me. I trust the person that has messaged me, but it's exciting. Someone has basically topped that offer and said, like, whatever happens with that shop, if you don't want to make that offer, we are looking to buy all of your product. And we're not looking to buy just the Scarlet and Violet, which I was all down with. Scarlet and Violet stuff is going bananas. So I understand why they wanted the Scarlet and Violet stuff only. But this individual, or I should say group of individuals, because they're saying it's a group of them that has been buying collections and buying sealed product like crazy. They're saying they're interested in the Sword and Shield product as well. Now, if someone wants to make me an offer on all of my stuff, guys, we're looking at closer to like $50, $60, maybe $70,000. I've already had offers on my Evolving Skies at $1,200, $1,300 that I've not taken. You guys are probably gonna be like, Ryan, you're crazy. You didn't take $1,300 for Evolving Skies? No, I didn't, because all of my stuff is first wave product and I love Evolving Skies. So no, I'm not taking that. I already sold boxes for $650 at Collecticon and I regret it so much. One of my biggest regrets in the hobby is selling those boxes for $650. And I'll be damned if I make that mistake again selling them early. Now, I know those boxes are at a ridiculous profit, but I really feel that unless it's an offer that basically sets me up the rest of my life to continue moving forward, collecting whatever I want, and gives me the money to buy our new house so we can rent this one, then I'm not taking it. It's not greed, guys. It's a calculated play. And I know a lot of people are going to be frustrated by this because you guys all said for me to take the deal. I want to take the deal. But one, I'm not going to reach back out. I'm not going to reach back out and bend the knee and fold because it makes me a clown if I reach back out and say, oh, okay, I'll just take that. No, I'd never do that. I'm not doing it now. And two, if there's potentially another offer on the table, that is the only reasoning I need to hold on to product. And I'll bet you another thing. 3, that product is going to go up a lot in value over the next couple years. That shop may not think it now. They may not think it in a month. They may not think it in several months. But there will come a day where they think about the deal that they could have made and they wonder why they didn't make that deal. That's just my thinking. Am I being salty? Sure. Am I being absolutely petty? I don't think so. I think this was a big deal, and I think it was not handled the most professionally it could have been. And this is an obvious trend with the shop. always someone different working the counter, always a different experience for me. And I wasn't too happy with my last experience over there anyways. But another part of my argument was I'd given the shop, and I've given several shops in this area, thousands of dollars in my business, buying cards, trading stuff in, and using it towards store credit. I've supported a lot of LGSs. Some closed, some still open. But it really just feels like a lack of returning the favor and reciprocation. So that bothers me a lot because I believe in reciprocation and I believe in loyalty. And when you have loyal customers, you treat them like kings, right? And queens. My bar business, I operate that way. When someone comes in and they're a regular and they've done a lot of business with us, I treat them like they are VIP. I don't treat them like they're just another customer. They get the best of the best from me. So I expect that from professional businesses. That being said, guys, I vented long enough. I wanted to save that till the end of the video because I knew I was going to get emotional about it. But it does bother me a lot. That being said, I appreciate all of you for watching my videos, supporting this channel. I am super, super excited that we got this PSA 10 Shining Zard in our collection. This thing is absolutely minty, beautiful. So let's focus on the good. Let's focus on the good. Potentially a higher offer than I would have ever gotten had I sold online or to the shop has been potentially given to me, offered to me. I just got another one of my absolute Grail cards. My submission, my second biggest submission is on the way. I got my case with my car wrapped up, so I'm getting paid on that. It's a good day, guys. It's a good day. And that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I know I will. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out with the girls. We're going to go to the park, go for a nice walk in the sun, maybe get some lunch. Maybe I'll come home and play a round of Call of Duty. Maybe I'll watch a nice movie. I've been going nonstop, guys. I would be lying to you if I wasn't saying that I've been nonstop, just continuously making moves. And I'm tired. And for this reason, also Asher's crying right now, so it's probably perfect timing to end this video. I'm getting burnt out in my own ways. I'm getting tired of the hobby in my own ways. And that's not to say, like, I'm out of here, but I'm just being real with you guys. I don't want to cover up the reality of how a lot of collectors feel, which is just like, this market's garbage. Price movement's garbage. A lot of these illustrations are way overpriced. And for that reason, I'm not going after illustrations. I'm only going after SIRs and alt arts and textured cards. Maybe some trainer galleries from Sword and Shield, potentially. But for the most part, I'm not interested in these crazy prices. And so I'll be focusing on SIR and alt arts to buy. And I'm probably going to end up buying a couple illustrations that I have to have. But for the most part, my goal with illustrations is to grade them myself. If I can't grade them 10 myself, then I'll probably buy them. But I really don't want to buy illustrations right now because this market, it needs to cool down. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of all of that. This was a long, ranty video. Oh my gosh. And one more thing. Really, really cool, huge news is two much larger channels than mine have just reached out to me. They want to do a live stream. You guys are probably familiar with the Poke Office and Rob Burns, the Pokemon channel. They're both really great people. Just off of their character alone, I don't watch their stuff a lot, but when I do and when their videos pop up, they both just look like stand-up guys. They both look great. I would love to do a stream with them. I told them that I'm working on the day that they wanted to do it on Tuesday, but that I'm available on Wednesdays. So shout out to Rob Burns and Poke Office, Cole, I believe it's Cole. Thank you guys for just thinking of me. It really means a lot, seriously. And hopefully we can have a dope stream and we can all chop it up. But yeah, I just thought that was exciting, guys. it's been a really long time since I did a stream with anybody else. I've kind of avoided it just because you could have different opinions, and the way I collect is not how other people collect. So yeah, but anyways, just a little update. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day. Seriously, make it a great day. Go do something productive. Go enjoy the people that matter most, the people that you love, your family, your friends. Anyways, peace out, everybody.